going on, bro?
Oh man, nothing much, man. How's everything going with you?
It's been a morning. It's long. I won't say long. It's sat down and just had really some progressive conversations with uh, my wife's side of the family, talking about they just announced the presidential
Mm-hmm.
results yesterday. So congratulations to President-elect Biden, and then our first African American and female and South Asian Vice President Kamala Harris, Vice
Mm-hmm.
President-elect Kamala Harris. So that was a big thing, and then just um, discussing about kind of like racism back during my in-laws time, and just kind of like where we are today and like how things have changed. And then we start getting into conversations about economics and generational wealth, and business and things of that nature. So um, and I thought it was a great conversation, and we didn't even have enough time to like really get into it, to get into everything. Um, but I think these are definitely like important conversations to have and to begin having now, because um, and I'm gonna tie this into health as well. It's important to look at the your family history, and look at
Yep.
those different patterns, and take a lessons learned, so that you begin to understand like what they did and what you should do to do better. So when we're talking about um, the family history of finances, living conditions, health, all of those things play important, because when you go do a checkup, you go and go to the doctor. Don't they have on those forms family history of diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, things of that nature? Those things are important. So I think as we're going through our many topics and stuff, it's very important to look at the family history of you know every aspect of life, and how can you improve upon what previous generations have done. So
Yeah, that's a good, definitely good topics to hit on, and like you said, just kind of the landscape of the election, and kind of seeing like not even just this election, but the past, you know, over a decade or so, and just kind of seeing how the country has been progressing, but there's still a lot of things. There's still a lot of work to be done. That's for
right,
sure.
right,
But like you said, as the younger people and the generations that come under us, and even the ones that are our own generation, I think it's important for us to all have these types of conversations, so that we have different perspectives.
yeah,
There's insight that older people have that younger people may not be privy to,
mm-hmm.
and vice versa. There's insight that younger people have that older people may not really understand, just how things are different today. So I think sometimes they get into the thing where they try to compare, who had things the toughest growing up, and it's
Right,
like, there's toughness in different ways. There's things that you know people are starting to come to light. Like you said, conversations about finances, conversations about not just physical health, but mental health as well.
right,
It's definitely something that when I was a child, I didn't hear a lot of conversations about therapy
mm-hmm.
the way the conversations are circulating now, especially with Black community, Black men especially, but the
Mm-hmm.
Black community as a whole. Once upon a time, you basically, if you were feeling something, you just kind of had to, tough it up, man up, things like that. That type of rhetoric that now in hindsight, you kind of see how damaging those things were, because, you know, I do believe in being strong, but there's also strength in understanding your vulnerability, and
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have everything together, and that
Right.
sometimes you do need help. So
Agreed.
yeah, man.
Agreed. And I have kids. I have boys, And I think I've said in, previous episodes where I'm like, there are certain things I didn't see in the household. You know what I mean? So I didn't see nutrition in the household. I didn't see, physical fitness in the household. And both my parents were in the army. So you
Yeah.
would think, they're, having that military background, there will be, there'll be some highlight and nutrition and being fit in the forefront. But like I said, when I joined the Navy, that was my perception coming in, thinking that that's what the military was all about. But then when you get on this side of it, you don't see it as you don't see it as much, or you see that a lot of people actually struggle with nutrition and struggle with physical fitness. So
Yep.
so it's one of those things that now that I'm aware of, how I came up and what what wasn't, in my face and what I wasn't really privy to. I made sure to turn that around and make better choices and have better behaviors so that now that my kids and future generations after me can see the importance of, taking care of your body, your
Mm-hmm.
mental health, your physical health and stuff like that. Like in my house, and people think I'll be joking when I say this, but like juice and sodas and stuff in my house goes bad. Like it expires in my house because we don't really drink it. My kids don't ask for it. Like, they always want water because that's what we put in front of them. We put water. I got a 4-year-old
Right.
who asks for salad. Like,
Yeah.
like who does that? You know what I mean? Granted, yeah, we have snacks and little sweets and desserts and treats and stuff that they can have in the house or whatnot. But like I said, it's important for them to see, the right foods to eat and what they, how to take care of themselves and stuff. Like my kids, they love to exercise. They love to go outside and play. Granted, they love to be on their iPad too, but
Right.
they love to like move. They try to impress me by showing me
Things to
that
do.
they're working out. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, that's dope, man. That's dope. And and it's about that balance. Like, kids are gonna learn a ton of things, you know, when you're not around, be it
mhm.
through school or being through everything else. So it's very, very definitely critical that, when they're in your presence, for sure, you're instilling as many things as you can in them that are positive that they can gonna be able to take with them
Yep.
when they are out of your presence, whether they're being at school or even when they get older. Just things that resonate with you, excuse me, as a child, will carry over into your adulthood. And just like bad traits carry over, good traits can carry over as well.
Right.
So it's all about the traits, the things that you're instilling in them, for sure. So
Absolutely. And we talk about, and as we're going in and talking about traits, whatever, we'll segue into our topic for this week. Well, we put out there on Instagram and on social media about, different topics that um you know we wanted to know what people wanted to hear from us and what our take on it was. So, this week we was going to touch on, it's right where nearing Thanksgiving. First of all, for you guys that's already putting up your Christmas trees and you ain't getting putting no respect on Thanksgiving, shame on you.
I gotta push back a little bit, Doc. I gotta push back a little.
What? Come
Hey, it's been a rough year, man. It's been a tough year, man.
hey, we're not gonna just speed past Thanksgiving like
I
that.
look, I get it, I understand it, but after everything that's been going on, bro. If look, holly jolly Christmas, holly jolly something, bro.
look, look, we're not
Look,
we're
we'll,
not
we'll,
gonna
look, we'll get around to, we'll get the turkey up in there, bro. We
look.
got the whole week. We'll get it up in there.
You can't wait till Thanksgiving to put the tree up. We'll get the
It's
tree up.
already up. It's already up.
But here's the thing. You're gonna put the tree up. You put the tree up now. It ain't Thanksgiving, and then you're gonna leave the tree up until probably April, anyways.
Yeah, but that's my business. Yeah, that's hey, when Thanksgiving come around, I could be thankful for the tree already being up.
Oh my goodness.
I'm thankful for the tree that's already up,
Oh
bro.
my goodness. Y'all better put some respect. Y'all better put some respect on Thanksgiving, man. That's probably my
Hey,
favorite holiday.
as soon as all the food done, I put all the respect on it as necessary.
Oh my goodness, man.
Hey, shoot. But yeah, we're gonna get into that as well. Thanksgiving and the foods, and I think you were actually going to mention the question. That I forget her name. Apologies for the Instagram follower who left the question. I apologize for not remembering your name off the top of my head, but she basically she wanted to talk about eating / overeating during the holidays. So which I think for this time period, like you said, it's Thanksgiving's around the corner, and I think it'll be good for us to touch on that and just kind of hit that from a few different angles.
Yeah, I agree. So as I was saying with the the different traits which you see in the household. So you and I, we're both from Florida, and we being in the South, Thanksgiving, really holidays, any time there's any type of celebration or any reason for cooking to be done, hey, they're my grandparents, aunts, moms, doing all they can. Everybody's in the kitchen. Everybody's contributing to something, and there's always an abundance of food. So with an abundance of food and desserts, there's that 10 that you got to have 3, 4, 5 plates back to back, right? And that's just a pattern. That's just how we grew up. You know what I mean? You get that paper plate, you put enough on there till it breaks, till it starts to bend. You can't put no more in there.
You gotta double that thing up, G.
Yeah, double it up. Sit down, eat that, go back and get you some more. You know what I mean? And then you eat till you in a food coma.
Yeah.
Take a nap, wake up, get some more, get some dessert. You know what I mean? But that's not always though that's how we came up. We recognize that is actually not ideal, especially when you are trying to hit certain goals and things of nature that you have set for yourself. But we're not saying that you can't enjoy yourself. We don't want the misconceptions of when you're on a diet or when you're working your way towards goals that you cannot enjoy certain foods or you can't just enjoy life, period. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of just being mindful of I'll let you have your input.
Well, you mean you're pretty much on the right track. And when we spoke yesterday about today's topic, one of the things that actually it hit me because I actually had started doing it not too long ago, but I think in the question that she was asking, and I want to try to think of like some practical things to kind of help people navigate through that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I thought about was, working out before you eat. The food typically, especially black folks, the food ain't gonna be done till about 7 p.m. if you love. No, just kidding. But like normally, like there's a period of time where you're kind of waiting for the food to be done, right?
Right.
So that time in the morning or early afternoon. Now, granted, if you're helping to make the food, that's a completely different animal because you can't go nowhere. Grandma said you can't. You going to do what? No, that may not fly. But
right.
If you're able to pull away from the cooking piece of it, get some exercise in then. If the gym is still open, typically the gyms are kind of open for a short period of time. They may be open from like 8 to 12 or 8 to 9 to 1. You can go to the gym or you can go jog, go do exercise, burn those calories before you come time to eat. And that's one method that I think can be helpful. But yeah, so what in your brain, what are some of the other things you think that people can kind of look at as far as?
So I do like the idea of getting a workout in before you eat. I'm one of those guys that like to do a high intensity workout right before I consume some calories because typically after I eat dinner, I'm gonna want something sweet after the fact. You know what I mean? So I guess it's a way to stay guilt free. But then we're talking about um, typically I don't know about it from your experience, but I know from mine, dinner is usually, or Thanksgiving, or dinner is usually ready, or something is usually ready for us to start nibbling on 11, 12, 1 o'clock, right? So who's to say you have to eat everything in one sitting? You know what I mean? I'm all about portion control, right? So you can grab 2, 3 items here at say 11, 12 o'clock, consume a little bit of food here. 2, 3 o'clock, consume a little bit of food over here. You know what I mean? Allow um, your food time to digest. Don't feel like you have to eat everything all in one sitting, to where you're overstuffing yourself, or you're gonna spend some time in the bathroom, or you're gonna pass you're gonna be passed out on the couch while the game is on. And then you ain't gonna do anything but wake up and go put more food into your system, and you haven't even allowed time for the what you put in your body already to digest. So I say, just consume over time, portion control over time. Still enjoy the foods that you want to eat. I mean, you can enjoy everything, but just section it off at different periods of time, so that you give that food time to process through your system, and not overloading yourself. Because you're gonna feel heavy when you start getting that feeling of being heavy or sleepy or whatever. Just know
Yeah.
that them calories are sticking there.
Yeah. That's actually really good points that you brought up. You know, pacing out the meals.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? And not condensing everything onto one plate. Look, the food, if the most part, the turkey dead. It ain't going nowhere. You ain't got to run catch it. The turkey, it ain't the food. The food, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't
Right.
going nowhere. You know, and one of the things that I know from personal experience with sometimes with family members, especially, you have aunts you haven't seen in forever, grandma you ain't seen in a minute. And, of course, they look at you. For some reason, they always think you're skinny. Boy, you been eating? They always think you ain't been eating enough. So, you can just, once you've had a plate, just let grandma know, let auntie know, I'm gonna let this simmer down first, and
Right.
because I think that's the other thing with your family. You're in the presence of people that you care about. You're in the presence of people that you haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very comforting and endearing environment, and you don't want to feel like the quote unquote difficult one by trying to watch your manage your food and manage your eating. So from that aspect, it's just very much letting them know that, hey, I got some stuff. I mean, I'm gonna come back and get some more. I'm just gonna let this kind of simmer down first. So it's just a way to have that balance and just say, maybe flip the conversation away from, why you're not eating. So, hey grandma, how you doing? Like, you been doing okay? You been, you know what I mean? And let them talk for like an hour. And then by the time they finish
Yep.
talking your head off,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go back and get that plate.
Right.
So, it's just during that time where you're not eating, like, talk to your family, like, converse. If y'all, watching the games, watch the games, talk, chop it up with Unc.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all play cards or play, any type of, board games or whatever, just use that time. There's more to the holidays than just the food.
Right.
So, that's a time that you want to enjoy your family and just, just enjoy hanging out with people you haven't seen in a while, especially this year, for sure. Like, just kind of enjoy that piece of it as well. And, just still keep in mind, have a game plan before you even show up.
Right.
Or before everyone, if you're going to be hosting, before people come to you, have some sort of game plan or agenda where it's almost like if you go out and you go out with some buddies. Like I'm not a big drinker, right? So I'll, you know, if I'm hanging out with some friends, you know, I'll partake of some drinks, but I give myself a cap. I give myself a, you know, a cutoff limit. All right, I'm good. It's, you know, it's the same approach I think that you want to take with your family. You know, have a plate and have it, you know, you know what your folks cook. Have an idea of what you want to make sure you get, and then have a cap. All right, grandma, good. Or, you know, I'll take some home with me. Or, you know, and then, you know, just do it like that. But just, it's just how you manage it. It's how you manage it. You know, not too much, too fast. Let it spread out over time.
Right. I agree. So what do you say to someone who's, let's say a family of 4, 5, maybe 6, you know, we in COVID times, they're not traveling anywhere. They're not hosting anyone. What do you say the best way for them to prepare their holiday meals? That way they are able to enjoy the foods that they enjoy and then still stay on track with their current goals.
So you're saying like a family, they're not going anywhere. They're just kind of going to
Yep,
be at home.
they're staying at home. It's a family of somewhere between 4 and 6 people. They still going to do the holiday cooking. So how can they plan their meal for the holidays and then still stay on track with whatever goals that they have set for themselves?
Well, I think from in my opinion, I think the first thing you want to try to do is make sure that you're not overcooking or not overcooking, but I guess cooking too much. Like try to have an idea of how much you're going to buy if you're going to make greens, if you're going to make cornbread, if you're going to make mac and cheese, if you're going to, you know, have a turkey. How big a turkey do you want? Maybe get a little bit, maybe get a smaller turkey. Maybe get, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of portion control too, is how much you buy before you even cook it. So that's part of it. And yes, you do have a larger family, so you can, like I said, as long as you're considering everyone, you kind of treat it the same way that you do on a regular basis. As a family person, you're constantly trying to ration out, you know, at least from a financial aspect of, you know, how much you're spending on food and groceries and things like that to provide for the family anyway. So it isn't that much different in my brain. It's just for that particular occasion, just don't look at it as, oh, I have to go above and beyond because it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
You're changing the meals. I mean, you're changing the food for that particular time frame. But I think essentially the practice is still the same, you know, kind of having in mind how much you want to spend on Thanksgiving, how much you want to budget out for, you know, in particular things that, you know, the family likes and the family really loves and enjoys. And, you know, aside from that, I think you'll still be in a good spot because, you know, like I said, it's still something where, you know, you're controlling how much is going out to the family members, and you're still able to kind of control it for yourself as well.
Right.
So, you know, if you don't buy too much, you can't. Or if you don't buy too much, you can't eat too much. So, you know, it's kind of a good starting point, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I asked that question because we talk about, you know, what we're used to. So if we're used to, you know, a certain spread when it comes to, you know, holiday foods. So some people are used to having both ham and turkey. They're used to having greens and cabbage, macaroni and cheese, and some type of uh, like some type of rice or casserole dish, yams. You know what I mean? So I definitely think it's important when it comes to deciding, you know, what your centerpiece dish is going to be. Whether you're going to do ham or turkey, not necessarily need both. Deciding, you know, whether you're going to do greens or cabbage, or you're going to do it's just, you know, piece selection, meal selection, just make it a conscious decision of, you know, what you're going to eat and consume in a, you know, let's say 2 to 3 day time frame. and going from there, because I know we're so used to seeing, this widespread of foods that give, to have more choices during the holiday. And some people use some, we may have both, may eat both when you're, dealing with a larger group of people, but when you're dealing with just a small group, I say cut back on your selection,
Right.
and then go from there.
Right. Because it's funny you say that. It's funny. Normally, I would have said something to the effect of, if you have neighbors, or if you know someone that may be going through a tough time right now.
Yeah.
But because of the COVID situation, I would cautiously exercise that, because of the fact that, we want to try to maintain as much safety as possible in that aspect of it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you do, know for a fact, or know, or know pretty well enough that your family is, been tested negative for COVID, and you have some food that may be left over, excess, and instead of you trying to stuff it in your refrigerator, maybe, like I said, there may be a neighbor or a family member or a friend that maybe this year, grandma or auntie or mom, one of the people who do the main ones that does cooking, maybe they
Mm-hmm.
passed away earlier this year. So maybe this year may be a little rough for them.
Yeah.
It may be a tough. So that's another thing we have to think. In my opinion, we have to remember about Thanksgiving as well. Is essentially, we do have to remember that we're supposed to commemorate things that we're thankful for.
Right.
And in this current time frame, if you have family members that are still above ground, I think that's something to be thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a situation where you're able to financially provide for your family, that's definitely something to be thankful for. And sometimes, in not to bring the election too much back into this, but a large part of the success in most people's minds of the election were people thinking outside of themselves and thinking for the greater good of a community. And to me, that has to extend beyond politics in order for that to really bear real fruit. We can't just look at election time and say, hey, we all need to come together. There's things that we can be doing just in our own communities, as far as how we treat each other, being mindful of each other. Like I said, in this time frame, if you know someone who's having a tough time this year from Thanksgiving because of a death in the family, or because of a financial situation,
Mm-hmm.
if you have the means to maybe help them out, and you have some extra food that you may be able to provide for them and their families, then I think that's something that you should want to do. Hopefully, if it's in your heart to do that as well. So in the process of that, there's no excess food on your end, and you're also maybe providing someone who may not have as much as you have.
Right.
So
I agree. That was a good word, man. Um, I can't even top you on that.
sorry, man. I just, but I just think about stuff like that. I just think about, we obviously we talk fitness, and but always, again, fitness to me is a parallel of life.
Yep.
And there's life things that are ingrained in fitness, and there's fitness things that are ingrained in life, and
Mm-hmm.
just like I said, this time of year is, especially a year of just kind of having perspective on your situation. And you may not be in the most ideal situation, but like I said, there are some things you can find to be grateful and appreciative for. And if you have a situation where you have an abundance of food, that's the blessing that maybe you can, again, if it's on your heart, because I'm never going to press anybody to do something that's not on their heart, but if it's on your heart, to maybe share some of that with those who may not have as much.
Right.
So
I agree. Well, thanks for the good word, brother.
absolutely.
I hope the Instagram user who asked that question, um, I hope they were able to. I hope we answered that question for them, and then
What I'm gonna do is when I post the little the clip,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna I think I'm gonna just tag her or I'm gonna either DM her that we made a topic, or we made an episode regarding her topic.
Okay.
So that way she can see it and give us some feedback on it. And yeah, man. So I think that was a definitely, especially now, a good thing to try to bring up for individuals, and just hopefully they have some good, they got something good from this episode about how to approach, that situation.
Yep.
For sure.
Okay. So anyone out there that's listening, feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook at 2FitBLKGuys. Of course, the username is right here on the screen, and then we will answer any questions for future episodes. And that's it. I think that was a really good one.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Until next week.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Be good.
All right. Be easy.
Peace.